A bitter realization has crashed down upon them with unrelenting force. The family they chose over you, the one they believed in so fervently, has revealed its true nature: toxic, manipulative, and built on a foundation of deception. The sacrifice they made, discarding the authentic connection they shared with you, now stands as their greatest regret. They regret choosing that family over you with a pain that cuts deep into their soul. The sickening truth has come to light, and they yearn for a second chance, crawling back humbled and desperate, hoping you'll open a door they themselves slammed shut. The so-called protectors, who claimed to shield them from your supposed instability, now stand exposed as jailers, maintaining a system of spiritual captivity. The bars of their prison, gleaming with the false gold of obligation, loyalty, and tradition, hold them captive nonetheless. The chains they never noticed before now weigh heavily as consciousness dawns with merciless clarity. Your insights, once dismissed as paranoia, delusion, or overreaction, now blaze with prophetic accuracy. The words they mocked return with haunting precision, and the warnings they rejected manifest in painful exactitude. The patterns you identified replicate themselves with such perfect symmetry that they can no longer deny the reality before them. Shame consumes them as memories surface of how they participated in your isolation, repeating family lies about you, choosing comfortable deception over uncomfortable truth, standing silent while others maligned your character, and even actively contributing to your pain while believing themselves righteous. This realization burns through their consciousness with scorching intensity, leaving nothing untouched by its transformative flame. Their soul screams in agony as the full scope of manipulation reveals itself. Family members, blood relations they trusted without question, deliberately and systematically sabotaged your connection, not through misunderstanding or protective instinct, but through calculated intent designed to maintain control at all costs. The sickening moment of recognition strikes like cosmic lightning, revealing that the pattern of isolation and control extends far beyond you. This system predates you, will continue after you, and claims numerous victims in its relentless hunger for energetic compliance. The machinery of manipulation becomes visible in its entirety, each component designed with sinister precision to ensure no authentic connection threatens the family's control. A divine revelation illuminates how their family immediately identified your connection as an existential threat. Not because you were dangerous, but because you were liberating. Not because you would harm, but because you would heal. Not because you threatened stability, but because you offered freedom. Your very presence disrupted energetic patterns maintained across generations. The calculated methods family members used to plant doubts emerge with nauseating clarity. The seemingly innocent questions about your past, the concerned expressions when your name arose, the subtle emphasis on differences between you, the exaggerated responses to minor issues, the selective memory that amplified challenges while erasing strengths. It was a coordinated campaign executed with precision to ensure their perception of you remained fatally distorted. "We're just concerned about you," the battle cry of manipulators throughout time, now rings hollow as its true function stands exposed. These conversations reveal themselves as strategic interventions designed to combat the threat of authentic connection. The seemingly supportive discussions unmask as programming sessions, the loving advice unveils as system maintenance, and the family meetings expose themselves as reality management operations. Your supposed red flags transform completely in their newly awakened perception. What the family identified as instability now reveals itself as spiritual awakening. What they labeled erratic behavior now appears as resistance to control. What they diagnosed as unhealthy attachment now shows itself as divine recognition. What they pathologized as delusion now manifests as spiritual sight beyond conventional perception. Everything they were taught to fear about you was precisely what threatened their system of control. The cruel irony crushes them. Your healing path, the very testament to your strength, resilience, and spiritual growth, became the primary justification for rejecting you. While you demonstrated courage in confronting shadows, they whispered that such acknowledgement proved you were damaged beyond redemption. Your commitment to growth, the quality that most threatened their stagnation, was painted as the reason you were unsuitable. Their family system executed this distortion with surgical precision, magnifying your challenges into insurmountable flaws while erasing every strength that contradicted their narrative. Your occasional struggles were expanded into defining characteristics, your human imperfections inflated into disqualifying weaknesses, your moments of uncertainty amplified into complete instability, all while your courage, insight, resilience, and spiritual connection vanished from their carefully curated portrayal. Shame engulfs them as they recall how willingly they accepted this one-sided portrayal without question, how easily they allowed others to define your character rather than trusting their direct experience, how completely they surrendered their perception to family programming, and how thoroughly they abandoned discernment in favor of comfortable consensus. This realization brings not just regret for the lost connection, but profound horror at their participation in character assassination disguised as concern. The false dichotomy that trapped them, us or them, family or connection, loyalty or love, security or authenticity, now stands exposed in its manipulative simplicity. This artificial binary, the primary weapon of controlling systems throughout history, reveals itself as a deliberate construction rather than an inevitable reality. The impossible choice they faced was manufactured to ensure they would choose familiarity over freedom. Their conditioning runs deeper than conscious thought, rooted in the fundamental programming that choosing you meant losing everything: family support, identity, community, belonging, stability, inheritance, and connection to past and future. The unstated implication that prioritizing your connection would result in complete abandonment, the subconscious equation of choosing authentic love with the total annihilation of self, operated beneath awareness, driving decisions from the shadows. The sophisticated guilt tactics deployed whenever they showed signs of independent thought, the quiet disappointment, the subtle withdrawal of affection, the references to family obligation, the reminders of past support, the invocation of sacred bonds, the implication of betrayal, the suggestion of selfishness, were weapons used with precision whenever their connection with you threatened family primacy. With newly awakened perception, they finally see how you never demanded they choose. You respected their autonomy while maintaining your boundaries, honored their connection to family while refusing to engage with toxicity, and offered space for both relationships to exist while their family required exclusive loyalty. This stark contrast burns with painful clarity. You offered freedom, while their family demanded captivity. Yet cosmic truth cannot be permanently suppressed. Despite rejection, separation, and conscious denial, the spiritual bond between you persisted beyond human interference. Forged beyond physical reality, this connection continued its quiet influence beneath conscious awareness. The universe itself conspired to maintain what human limitation attempted to sever. Dreams became the sanctuary where truth spoke freely. Your energy appeared consistently in their sleep state, delivering messages their waking mind refused to receive. The dream space, beyond the reach of family programming, preserved your connection when physical reality could not. These visitations increased in frequency and intensity as their awakening approached, preparing their consciousness for inevitable revelation. Synchronicities manifested with increasing frequency, your name appearing in unexpected contexts, songs reminding them of you playing at significant moments, objects associated with you emerging from forgotten places, conversations suddenly referencing shared experiences. These coincidences maintained your energetic presence in their field, despite all efforts to erase you from their reality. The call they tried desperately to ignore only grew louder in your absence. The spiritual summons that initially drew them toward you continued its persistent invitation despite physical separation. The sole recognition that transcends human understanding refused to be diminished by distance or denial. This divine connection, operating beyond the comprehension of those trapped in control systems, terrified their family precisely because it functioned outside their realm of influence. Let us take a moment to honor the chosen among us, the silent guardians, the watchful souls, always awake and vigilant. They don't fit the mold, and they wouldn't have it any other way. While others walk familiar paths, they forge their own, fighting unseen battles and illuminating shadows. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. But if you feel it deep within, you know this is meant for you. No masks, no pretense, just truth. The Obsidian Inner Order is here, a place where kindred spirits gather to share wisdom, connect, and transform. Over 450 strong, united not by conformity, but by purpose. If you're ready, you know where to find us. If not, we're always here, watching over, making a difference in ways unseen. Here's to those who walk their own path, not for recognition, but because it's who they are. Here's to you. As their consciousness began its inevitable expansion, the family system deployed increasingly desperate measures to maintain control. Subtle manipulation escalated to overt pressure when gentle programming proved insufficient. Casual suggestions transformed into direct commands when subconscious influence faltered. Loving concern hardened into outright opposition when previous tactics failed to produce compliance. Their questioning of the established narrative triggered immediate isolation. The same strategy once used against you now turned against them. Expressing doubt resulted in exclusion from family connection. Voicing concerns led to emotional withdrawal, and challenging perspectives provoked aggressive defense rather than thoughtful engagement. The system revealed its true nature through its response to resistance: control rather than love, possession rather than support. Horrifying recognition floods their consciousness as they witness firsthand the treatment once directed at you. The dismissal of legitimate questions, the pathologizing of natural concern, the reframing of reality to maintain system stability, the character assassination deployed against anyone threatening the established order, the coordinated response designed to make the questioner doubt their own perception rather than the system's integrity. Shock reverberates through their being as loved ones transform before their eyes. The nurturing parent becomes a cold enforcer when authority is challenged. The supportive sibling shifts into a vicious defender when the family narrative meets resistance. The warm grandparent hardens into a rigid traditionalist when generational patterns face disruption. These transformations, triggered by simple questioning, reveal the conditional nature of family love and the fragility of relationships built on compliance rather than authenticity. Generational programming binds them with ancestral chains, a lifetime of conditioning that positioned family loyalty as the ultimate virtue, the highest priority, the non-negotiable commitment. Questioning family became tantamount to cosmic treason, betraying family even for truth, the ultimate sin. This programming, installed from earliest consciousness, creates devastating paralysis when confronted with family manipulation. Their identity fused completely with their family role: the good child, the reliable one, the family success story, the peacekeeper, the responsible sibling. Their worth was determined by fulfilling family expectations, their value measured by compliance with family demands, their belonging contingent upon maintaining their assigned function. This identity integration makes separation feel not merely difficult but existentially threatening. Questioning family becomes questioning self at the most fundamental level. Fear grips them as they witness the family's scapegoating mechanism in action, the very process you endured now potentially targeting them. The swift conversion from beloved member to dangerous outsider, the immediate rewriting of history to villainize the truth-teller, the coordinated character assassination deployed against anyone threatening system stability, the complete withdrawal of support, connection, and belonging, all exposed through your experience. now turns ominously in their direction as their awakening proceeds. Yet beneath the paralysis, courage takes unexpected root. The strength to question despite devastating consequences, the determination to seek truth regardless of painful revelation, the resolve to maintain perception even as reality shifts beneath their feet, the commitment to authenticity despite the price demanded. This emerging courage, modeled by your earlier stand, grows stronger with each truth revealed, each manipulation exposed, each illusion shattered. A single moment permanently divides their existence into before and after, the exact instant when truth revealed itself with such blinding clarity that returning to previous perception became impossible. Perhaps it was witnessing family members discuss you when they believed it was safe, observing the same tactics deployed against someone else, or experiencing firsthand the punishment for questioning. Whatever the catalyst, this moment shattered all remaining illusions about family intention. Vertigo overwhelms them as every belief requires re-examination. Each memory demands new interpretation. Every family story needs translation from manipulation into truth. The fundamental assumptions forming their reality's foundation crumble simultaneously, creating profound disorientation. What appeared as protection reveals itself as control. What seemed like concern unmasks as possession. What felt like love exposes itself as a conditional exchange dependent upon compliance. Grief arrives in overwhelming waves as they calculate the time lost to manipulation. The genuine connection sacrificed to maintain a comfortable illusion. The authentic relationship abandoned to preserve false harmony. The divine opportunity surrendered to appease human demand. The spiritual evolution delayed to satisfy worldly expectations. This grief contains not just personal loss, but a cosmic recognition of opportunity squandered through blindness, maintained by choice. The bitter realization that you suffered alone while they participated in your isolation brings searing pain. While you endured rejection, they enjoyed family approval. While you navigated abandonment, they received community support. While you faced character assassination, they believed comforting lies. While you stood in painful truth, they hid in comfortable deception. This stark contrast between your experiences brings overwhelming shame as they recognize their complicity in suffering they could have prevented through simple discernment. The good family member identity dies a necessary death as awakening proceeds. The reliable one who prioritized harmony over truth. The dutiful child who never questioned parental wisdom. The loyal sibling who maintained the family narrative regardless of accuracy. The responsible one who sacrificed authenticity for approval. This identity, constructed through a lifetime of compliance, dissolves completely as truth emerges with unstoppable force. Terrifying freedom accompanies the shedding of family-approved perspectives, the vertigo of establishing independent thought after a lifetime of deference to authority, the disorientation of determining personal values after decades of external definition, the uncertainty of navigating without familiar guidelines, the existential anxiety of separation from collective identity. This freedom, simultaneously liberating and terrifying, creates temporary instability as a new foundation forms beneath their shifting consciousness. Yet unexpected peace emerges within the chaos. As alignment with truth replaces the maintenance of illusion, the exhausting vigilance required to suppress perception relaxes. The constant tension of contradicting reality releases. The perpetual anxiety of maintaining an inconsistent narrative dissolves, and the endless energy expenditure of ignoring intuition ceases. Within the apparent destruction of comfortable illusion grows the quiet peace of energetic alignment previously unknown. Your refusal to compromise truth, once labeled rigid, extreme, or unnecessarily principled, suddenly makes perfect sense. The boundaries they once considered excessive now appear precisely calibrated to the toxicity you faced. The standards they viewed as unrealistic now reveal themselves as necessary protection against energetic violation. The principles they dismissed as idealistic now manifest as essential guidance for authentic living. What they interpreted as inflexibility transforms into admirable integrity, maintained despite overwhelming pressure to compromise. Your boundaries, previously seen as demands, ultimatums, or controlling behavior, reveal their true nature as essential protection against energetic exploitation. The limits you established around communication, engagement, and interaction now appear as necessary safeguards rather than unreasonable restrictions. The standards you maintained for relationships now manifest as appropriate requirements rather than excessive expectations. The clarity with which you identified unacceptable behavior now seems like wisdom rather than judgment. Your reactions, once labeled extreme, disproportionate, or evidence of instability, now register as perfectly calibrated responses to toxic dynamics they couldn't perceive. Your anger was appropriate to the violation experienced, your withdrawal necessary given the energetic attack deployed, your distress proportional to the manipulation attempted, your caution justified by the deception revealed. Every response you offered, criticized as excessive at the time, now appears measured compared to the provocation you faced. Awe rises within them as they witness, retrospectively, the integrity you maintained despite overwhelming opposition, the strength required to trust your perception while everyone questioned your stability, the courage needed to honor your truth while others called it delusion, the resilience necessary to maintain boundaries while being labeled selfish, the spiritual fortitude essential to preserve authenticity while facing complete rejection. This integrity, sustained through isolation, abandonment, and misrepresentation, now inspires reverent respect. Your radiance intimidates as they finally perceive your true nature without distortion, the spiritual clarity they were taught to fear as instability, the authentic power they were conditioned to resist as domination, the soul wisdom they were trained to dismiss as delusion, the divine connection they were programmed to reject as fantasy. Your uncompromising embodiment of truth, threatening to systems of control, now stands revealed in breathtaking intensity that simultaneously attracts and intimidates with its unapologetic authenticity. They approach the possibility of reconnection with trembling humility, stripped of all previous certainty. The arrogance that once positioned them as your judge has dissolved through painful awakening. The superiority that evaluated your worthiness shattered through devastating revelation. The certainty that determined your stability destroyed through the systematic exposure of manipulation. They stand before you transformed, not through intention but through cosmic intervention that demanded their awakening regardless of personal readiness. No grand gestures accompany their return, only profound remorse and newfound clarity. They offer no elaborate justifications, no extensive explanations, no dramatic declarations. The simple truth stands unadorned. They failed to see what stood before them, chose comfortable illusion over uncomfortable reality, surrendered discernment to maintain approval, and sacrificed divine connection to preserve human comfort. This acknowledgement comes not as a bid for sympathy, but as a necessary foundation for potential rebuilding. The sacrifice they once feared, losing family approval, now stands as a price they willingly pay for a chance at authentic connection. What once seemed impossibly costly now appears as a necessary investment in spiritual freedom. The approval they previously prioritized above all else now holds minimal value compared to energetic integrity. The belonging they desperately preserved now means little measured against authentic connection. The security they frantically maintained now seems worthless, weighed against spiritual alignment. They approach with full understanding that forgiveness remains your sovereign choice, not their entitled expectation. The healing occurs within them, regardless of your response. The awakening continues independent of your engagement. The transformation proceeds whether reunion manifests or separation maintains. They make no claim upon your energy, no demand upon your resources, no requirement for your participation in their evolution. The grace they seek remains completely within your authority to grant or withhold according to your discernment alone. Your discernment was always divinely guided. The doubts others planted were interference with cosmic knowing. The paranoia they diagnosed was accurate perception of hidden dynamics. The overreactions they criticized were appropriate responses to energy attacks they pretended not to deploy. The difficulty they complained about was your soul's resistance to exploitation. They claimed as love. The selfishness they condemned was appropriate preservation of spiritual resources they sought to drain. Authentic connection requires complete commitment to seeing clearly, regardless of consequences. Genuine relationship demands unwavering dedication to reality, despite manipulation designed to distort perception, and spiritual partnership necessitates absolute sovereignty, maintained even at the cost of approval. Their awakening confirms what your soul always knew. Truth ultimately prevails over illusion. Clarity eventually overcomes confusion. Authenticity inevitably disrupts deception. Divine sovereignty grants you absolute authority over your energetic field, and spiritual autonomy ensures complete freedom in deciding whether reconnection serves your highest purpose. Soul wisdom guides your discernment about whether this transformed energy complements your current path. The boundaries they once resisted now require their complete respect. The sovereignty they once violated now demands their full recognition. The discernment they once dismissed now commands their absolute deference. Remember your divine purpose as you receive their approach. The cosmic significance extends beyond personal reconciliation into a collective demonstration of truth's ultimate victory. By refusing to compromise despite overwhelming pressure, you established a template for spiritual sovereignty that serves evolution beyond your awareness. The truth you maintained despite systematic opposition now manifests its liberating power through an awakening that continues regardless of human outcome. Whether reunion occurs or distance remains, your steadfastness created transformation, reaching far beyond individual experience.